You know that feeling, right? You're just wide awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your brain decided now was the perfect time for a high alert status update. Well, if you're tired of these little middle of the night meetings with yourself, you're going to want to stick around. We are going to dive into what's really going on when you wake up at 3 a.m. It's the question that just echoes in the quietest hours of the night. But listen, this isn't just some random annoyance. It's actually a super predictable pattern for millions of people. And it turns out there's a fascinating biological and psychological story behind why this specific time is such a peak for wakefulness. And if you think you're the only one going through this, you are definitely not. Research that tracked over 1,000 adults found that a staggering 68% of them consistently wake up between 2:30 and 4 a.m. This is not a coincidence. It's a really common biological thing. Okay, and here's the first really big mindset shift we need to make. Waking up briefly at night, that's completely normal. I mean, healthy sleepers do it 10, maybe even 30 times a night as they move between sleep cycles. They just fall back asleep so fast they don't even remember it. The real problem we're tackling here isn't the waking up, it's the staying awake. So, to understand why we get stuck awake, we first have to pop the hood and look at the body's internal machinery. Let's explore the natural rhythms that are supposed to keep us asleep, but, well, sometimes conspire to wake us right up. You see, our sleep isn't a flat line. It's more like a roller coaster. We travel through these cycles all night long, and each one lasts about 90 minutes. We start light, we go down deep into that restorative sleep, and then we shift into REM sleep. But notice that last part, a brief awakening. It's a totally natural transition point where our sleep is at its lightest, which makes us super easy to disturb. And orchestrating all of this is our master clock, the circadian rhythm. You can think of it like a conductor, telling your body when to release wake-up hormones and when to release sleep hormones. Now, when this clock is perfectly timed, sleep is smooth. But when it gets misaligned, that's when things can go very wrong, especially around 3 a.m. And this is exactly why 3 a.m. is prime time for problems. You've got this perfect storm of biological events happening. Cortisol, that's the hormone that gets you going in the morning, it starts its slow rise. Your body temperature hits its lowest point. Your blood sugar is dipping. And on top of all that, you're often in a lighter stage of sleep. All of this combines to create a window of vulnerability where any tiny disturbance can jolt you into full consciousness. But biology is only half the story. The reason we often stay awake has everything to do with our minds. So let's look at how our own thoughts can trap us in a state of wakefulness, turning what should be a brief biological hiccup into a full-blown bout of insomnia. So, does this little sequence look familiar? You wake up, and what's the first thing you do? You check the time, and instantly, your brain starts doing the math. Oh no, I only have 3 hours left. I'm going to be useless tomorrow. That single thought triggers a stress response, surging cortisol through your system. And just like that, your brain goes from sleepy to high alert. You've basically created your own wake-up call. Now, when that vicious cycle happens night after night, something called conditioned arousal starts to set in. Your brain learns a new, really unhelpful association. So instead of bed equals sleep, it becomes bed equals frustration and trying to sleep. And over time, just being in your bed while you're awake can become the very trigger that keeps you awake. And for many people, there's another major factor that can turn up the volume on this whole cycle: hormones. The shifts that happen during midlife, especially during the menopausal transition, can dramatically rewrite the rules of sleep, making these nighttime awakenings way more common and intense. Just look at the data from the National Institutes of Health. It shows how incredibly common this is. Sleep problems are reported by 40 to 60% of women during this transition. It's not just some minor side effect. For many, it's one of the most bothersome symptoms. And it's often driven by things like hot flashes and night sweats that act like a powerful internal alarm clock. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. While women overwhelmingly report that their sleep gets worse, objective lab studies don't always show a huge change in their actual sleep stages. This suggests there's a powerful disconnect. The experience of sleep is disrupted by things like hot flashes and anxiety, even if the underlying sleep architecture isn't all that different. Your perception becomes your reality. Okay, we have covered the why. Now let's get to the most important part, the how. We're going to pivot to a clear, evidence-based action plan. This isn't about any magic cures. It's about systematically retraining your brain and your body for better, more uninterrupted sleep. But before we talk about what to do, let's cover what not to do, because most of us, with the best intentions, make a few key mistakes that actually pour fuel on the fire of wakefulness. These are the 3 don'ts that you need to eliminate starting now. All right, starting tonight, I want you to commit to stopping these 3 behaviors. First, don't check the clock. It only feeds your anxiety. Second, don't just lie there in bed getting frustrated. That just strengthens that negative association with your bed. And finally, and this is a big one, absolutely do not pick up your phone. The light, the stimulation, it's the exact opposite of what your sleepy brain needs. So, what is the core principle for breaking this cycle? Well, it all comes down to one simple but really powerful idea. This is the golden rule, the central goal of the most effective behavioral therapy for insomnia. And this is it. Your entire mission is to reestablish the connection between your bed and sleep. Every single action you take when you wake up at night should be aimed at this one goal: weakening the association between your bed and frustration and strengthening its connection to rest. That's the whole game. So how do we actually do this? With a strategy called stimulus control, and trust me, it is brutally effective. If you're awake for more than, say, 20 minutes, get out of bed. Go to another room with dim light, do something genuinely boring. Read a textbook, fold some laundry. The key is to wait until you feel that wave of sleepiness again, and only then do you get back in bed. This is how you retrain your brain. Of course, a good night's sleep really starts during the day. And these are the non-negotiables. Getting some morning sun helps anchor your circadian rhythm. Limiting that afternoon caffeine and avoiding alcohol before bed prevents them from messing with your sleep later. And managing stress and making sure your bedroom is cool, dark, and quiet, all of that lowers your overall arousal level, making it way less likely you'll get stuck awake during that 3 a.m. vulnerability window. If you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this: the goal is not perfection. You are still going to wake up sometimes. That's just human biology. The real victory is transforming those long, frustrating hours of being awake into brief, forgotten little moments, allowing you to drift right back to sleep. And that brings us to our final thought. This isn't about overhauling your entire life tomorrow. It's about starting with one small, deliberate action. Maybe it's just turning your clock around so you can't see it. Maybe it's putting a really boring book on your nightstand. So what's that one small step you're going to take to start reclaiming your bed for sleep?